Once upon a time, long ago, not too long ago, we were nomads. We owned nothing. We had stories. We owned songs. We owned dances. And those were the tools that allowed us to be alive, to be human. In other modern terms, we are culture. The stories and dances are no more. They were trashed and forgotten because the cultures that allow us to live right are no match to convenience and fear. I'm asking for the impossible. I'm asking to remember the place, the time when we were one, when we knew how to live, when we knew how to dance, when we knew how to sing together. It would be good if we could start from the beginning, but we have to start from the end. And at the end, there is this longing, the longing for a place like it should be, where the goddess was at the table, when she was the table, when she was us. We used to own stories. We used to trade dance steps before goods. We used to own songs and treasure them like bank accounts. And now we roam the earth lost with money in our pockets, but intimately much poorer. Come forth, brothers, be heard like thunder. This is the dance for the exiles to come home. This is the dance to claim your throne, to live, to die. We are the breath of our ancestors. We feel their happiness in our bones. They have not lived in vain. They have not lived in vain. To live, to die.
Hey, good morning. Let's get the show on the road. Let's just 1 or 2 minutes. Hi, how you doing? Where are you? A minute on why you're here, what you think you're going to be doing, what you expect. Just talk about getting us here. So let's start with our convener, Mr. Jamie Eggleston from Oshkosh, Nebraska, Wisconsin. Go ahead. Where are you? Where are you? How come and why?
Yeah, so I am in southern Wisconsin, Lake Geneva. Feeling very excited this morning. And why? I want to, well, I'll tell you why. Rites, Remembering Our Rites podcast is a podcast where I invite our leaders and mentors in the rites of passage and mentorship space to have inspiring conversations that invoke action to serve the next generation of initiated adults to inherit the earth. And so that's my why. I want to contribute to the community in the best way I know how. And I also realize that I don't know a whole lot. So I figure I'd bring some people on who have a bit more experience than I do and see what comes of this. So that's my why. That's why I'm here today. And I appreciate the conversation that we're going to have.
Great, thank you. Mr. Villa.
I'm here because Brad Leslie has decided in his life not to let me hide. And he's been chasing me for the last 25 years. Yeah, and bless him for that. And this is something that's been doing for most of his life, as far as I know. And not only with me, he's doing it with other men. And that's what I think, that's why we're here. So not to leave ourselves, not to let other men hide. And that's about it.
What might you bring? What might you put into this morning's conversation?
I've been sitting on, I had some, about 2001, 2000, maybe 99, when we started working on this rite of passage for young men, and when I met Brad. I've been doing it since then. It's been a big story experience. And most of it that I couldn't really express it in words. I knew what I was doing. I knew that it worked, but I didn't know how to describe it and how to put it into words. And since then, I've been doing a lot of thinking, a lot of research, and I've been coming up with some ideas. I'll be able to coagulate the experience into some sort of more or less rational form, and that's what I think I'm bringing. Hopefully, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Thank you. Damn, I'm glad you're here. Can't say it in public. I fucking love you. You're just a fucking sweetheart. Ugh. Why don't we just take over a country and rule the world or something? Brad Leslie in beautiful downtown Vancouver, doing Young Men's Weekends for 35 years this time round. Kingmakers, anything to do with rites of passage initiation for the next generation of men, so they can have a bit better chance of survival. But it's also this angel being here that's been doing this for thousands of lifetimes. It's in the blood and it's in the bones. It's just coming out in the language of today. It's awesome to have you two guys here. Villa, who is, it's like when I go on stage with my rock and roll band, and I don't play horns with those guys, but they're every bit as good as I am, but they're different. And Villa's kind of like that. He's on the different side of but the same mountain, and we have all different skills that jam together. And Eggleston here doesn't know what he's fucking got yet, but he's been hanging around with the Kingmakers for a couple of years and taking all the shit and abuse, and he keeps showing up and grinning. And this podcast might be a way to further our work to some way, and it'll help extract his brilliance as well. So logistically, I've been up since 3 this morning. I'm gonna fall asleep in about 8.5 minutes. So this thing might just turn into a train wreck. We have a couple of ideas. So that's me. For this morning, we have a couple of ideas, things to talk about. Eggleston put together a list of questions. We'll deal with 3 of them. But it's kind of like fluid and informal, and see what we can come up with. But the notion is the context. There's the word children. Context is to extract the gems of the 2 of us that he's going to catalyze. That makes sense? So the 3 of us are here going to, whoa, where'd that come from? Because I know when we get together, there'll be half an hour of just mundane jokes and insults and fun and how's the kids and all that stuff. And then the angels will speak.
Hopefully.
That's you did. They're all here. All my guys wanted to show up this morning. Here, this guy came along too. All my little fellas, they all wanted to be in the show today.
I haven't seen that one before.
Come see me sometime. I got dozens of them. Mr. Eggleston, talk for 2 minutes on just your sense of the flow and the structure. What do you got in mind that fits with your notion of your podcast? And then we're going to disrupt it. At least give us a reference point to work.
Yeah, I'll throw something out there. And so I
structurally, well, not the details just yet.
Yeah, I want to talk about the who, the why. So what is the difference between a boy and a man, starting there. And something that really popped out to me from Andrea is from a past conversation, bringing in the presence of love. How does this inform this whole journey? And so what's happening to a boy around 12 years old? What is awakening? And how do we as a community respond? How is it not working? How can we respond? What is that magic of initiation? So that was the on-ramp that I was thinking.
Yeah, that's good. We can go for an hour in each one of those.
Right.
Mr. Villa, your thoughts about the trajectory of the morning? Any part of the mountain you want to climb?
Yes. So when I started this, and actually when we're talking with 25 years ago with Brad, a lot of our concern was about how these young men were sort of like testing the boundaries. The young men, when they become at a certain age, when their hormones start raging, they sort of, in all society, in all worlds, they always try to, break boundaries, test the limits, and that kind of stuff, right? And the idea was for creating this rite of passage where this kind of disruptive behavior was sort of addressed and really challenged, create a structure, a situation where we're really challenged to say, okay, you want to break boundaries? Now's the time. Now's the place, right? And with the idea that so that we could have like a place for them to experience good trouble, instead of creating this situation out there where there's a bad trouble for them. So that's basically what, self-destructive and drugs, and, we know the litany of problems that we have, right? And then, but with times, and then especially when I started working with Martin, and I started reading his book, Martin Prakel, and they brought this kind of like another indigenous perspective that I wasn't really aware of. And that in indigenous society, in the process of initiation happens for a man when he starts falling in love. Oh. And so when he see this, this young, scrawny girl in his community, and he's got all these kind of things he don't know how to explain, that moves within, and it changes. It thinks that she's not a human being, but she's a goddess type of thing, right? So the initiation, at least in the Mayan context where Martin was about how to approach this goddess, how to understand this human being, not just like a human being, but as a fractal of something much bigger, which is the truth of actually our life on Earth, which is the essence of who we are. We are fractal, something much bigger. And then it starts, because, the whole idea, this how you approach this woman that you want, with all your sexual desire, with all your intensity, with your erotic drive. You have to learn how to approach her. You have to learn how to be near her. And guess what? The way you approach a woman and the way you approach nature is the same thing. So you can go and get her and use her for your whatever, or you can approach her like something that has to be approached, which means to be courted, has to be spoken to, has to be listened to, has to be engaged. So that's the process that Martin Prakel speaks. I'm talking, of course, in very basic terms. But so this is kind of like at the beginning, we're trying to fix kind of a problem, and that's what I'm sort of where I'm evolving to, the direction I'm moving to, and why. So we all know that. Men, you become a man, you're not born a man. That's the theory behind that thing. But why is that? In the sense, women have it better, they have it easier than the men. They have it easier because sort of like nature claims women in a more strong way. In a stronger way than men, in the sense they get menstruation. They're defined in the life role early and in a very unmistakable way. Also, the second thing that happens to women, not all of them, but a lot of them, is they give birth. And that's another initiation. That's another transformation, huge transformation. They modifies their body, they modifies their brain, it modifies the way they think. I mean, it's a great, basically they have these two gifts that we don't have, or we don't have this strongly. So when we look at a tree and we see a beautiful tree, why is beautiful? A tree is beautiful because we consider it beautiful because its beauty comes from the fact that is unfolding, its growth is according to a code within, is in harmony with its code, and is an expression of that code, right? The same is not for a human being. Our beauty has to be intersected by the eyes of another human being. If it doesn't, it wills. And that's what I think is the purpose of the rite of passage. The core of it is it creates a situation where the beauty of the initiating is intercepted by the look of somebody else. And this happens, between men and women, by the way, all the time. It's women that can see the beauty in the boy, in the young man, right? And they say, "Oh, that's the guy. That's my guy," right? But men can do the same thing, and there are two different things. Okay, there are two different things altogether. But why that happens? Why we need to be intercepted? So think of for a moment, when you are born, the first thing you see is a boob full of milk. That's your first connection to life. And you say, "Oh, this is good. We'll get boob full of milk." And the next thing, what you see? The eyes of your mom. There's a second thing you see. And guess what happens? For some hormonal conjure that happens in the bodies of the mother has to love her child. There is no choice for her.
It's like this.
There is no choice for her. Not only this, but she thinks that this child is the most beautiful thing that ever happened in the history of mankind. Right? That's a communication. That's what happens. That's love. That's how we learn how to love. In Napolitan, we have this in southern Italy. We have this. They have this beautiful language in Naples. And they say "Tutti scarafoni su bella mamma sua," which means every cockroach mama thinks his child is the most beautiful. So, and that's what how we learn how to love. Our being has to be the beauty of the beauty that lives within us has to be intercepted. And that's what Brad does all the time. In the old things does in Canada, in Vancouver is the same thing. It creates the situation where the young men are challenged so that they can show up beautifully. Not win, not lose, just show up beautifully. And there is an old guy there that says, "I see you." That's all we do, really. That's our job. I say, "Good, that's good." So when that interception happens, that's all there is. Because the great things about the magic of what Brad produces is that it gathers together a lot of men that to whom this thing never happened to. I was not raised in a very welcoming environment for a lot of things. And this is the magic of what he does, or what he creates. A lot of us, man, we were not given this. And we give away something that is not given to us. And that's the magic of the rite of passage, because the fact that we're not given this, we can still see, okay, the buck stops here. The buck stops here. I'm not gonna reproduce that life diminishing, beauty diminishing, hate growing culture that we live in. Because, all our education, or is not based on love, it's not about recognizing the beauty within and the gift that we carry. And we begin expressing this gift only if and only when our beauty is being intercepted. Only when the guy is going to do something that nobody told him, in one of the exercises we provide in the initiation, is going to do something that surprises himself. And there's a guy there that say, see you. I see you. Boom, job done. Job done. No more, nor less. Intercept the beauty. So I think I'll stop now. No, what do you think?
Good. We can go home now. It's a beautiful thing. That's what he said when he came to our first weekend. He was staggering around the campsite. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, it's like you've come up this side of the mountain and I'm on this side where it's the same mountain. How can we make men more resilient, beautiful, useful? Useful is a close word. How do we follow that?
Well, I've got a question.
I'm still addressing your first one. All right, what do you got? What do you got?
Yeah, I'll throw it in here. Why the men? Why do they do the intercepting? First love is with the woman, the mother. What you're speaking to, Andrea, the men are doing the intercepting, the seeing.
Well, this is a huge question.
Yeah.
This is a huge question. But the thing is, if the man, you see, it's a crucial question, because if the men don't do it, then the young man is going to look at women to do it. And if the woman does it, it's going to be always him looking for a mom. And this means failed relationship with women. Because if you approach a woman as you want, so as the tit you've been sucking on to a woman, is disaster, because a woman doesn't need to become your mom. She needs you so that she can be a mom. She become a mom. It's a totally different approach. She's not there to nurture you. She can see she can see us and I see you. So, in the Middle Ages, you cannot get into the jousting arena if a woman has not given you the scholars, which means a ribbon and something. So you had to be of valor in order for her to show interest into you, right?
Right.
So she sees you, she intercepts you, says, oh, there's something valuable here. This is my reward. You have the ribbon. You're going to fight for me now. All right. So, but the man is has to know that it has to know his valor, and that's it gets it from other man, because the other man is in the duel that he is against another man, and the man is going to say, oh, okay, yeah, with your valor, recognize your skill, your gift, the thing. So that's what it gets, valor, right? This is going to give to the woman. It's not going to enter a relationship to suck her tit, but to give her valor. I mean, I'm simplifying a lot, but there's all this come from the poetry, by the way, from the Middle Ages and so forth. But that's what the men do. They're gonna, this is your valor, go show it to the world. Bring it forth. Bring it forth into the world. Say amen, amen. This is secret. What you do, who you are, is a sacred thing in the world. What you just did is incredible. So, there's like, there are simple things like, there was one thing I did in California, they had this game to do, but they had to come together. If they don't do it together as a team, they miss lunch. Okay?
Right.
So the choice is, are we going for lunch, or are we completing together, or are we doing for lunch? Or so are we sticking it to it and win, or we go for lunch, type of thing, No, so we stick together and we jump. So if we finish this assignment, we're gonna mix lunch. And they all decide to start together and have lunch. See, that's valor. I mean, I'm making a very simple, silly example, of course, but they stick together, stop lunch. That's valor. That's what gonna get them laid. That's what is gonna get them a step ahead.
Reminds me of the first time I met Mr. Villa here. It was at one of the California weekends, that maybe the second or third one, maybe the first. And I was all the teams were running around the forest doing different activities. I was walking around with safety manager, little guy. And we're chatting, and we're just following a team. And there's a trail through the woods, and there's a big ravine full of like bracken and like 4-foot high bushes and things. And this wild man here jumps out of the forest in front of him wearing dirty old clothes, and he screams at them in some foreign language, see that path there? That's woman's path. Do you want the easy path, or do you want man's path? Okay, we'll take man's path. Follow me. And he goes bouncing down through these brackens and ferns, the dirt and sticks flying everywhere. And these, okay, and they all went falling down through the bushes. What the fuck was that? It's a beautiful cartoon summation of what he's been saying for the last half an hour. Men following women's path are generally a lot softer these days. The whole respect for the myth of poetics and don't raise your voice and all that stuff. Men are much more useful to the community when they're strong, when they're connected with their spark, their fire within. Going back to one of your earlier questions, boys/men, if you're at any construction site or any office, we'll go with construction site, and there's like a dozen guys there building a house, and a busload of boys, 8, 10, 12, 14-year-olds arrive. wow, this is cool, and go running around and picking up a saw and then cut his hand off and dumping wheelbarrows full of stuff. Boys in men's world of building a house are fucking dangerous. They just don't know, they don't know how to do the job. They don't have respect with each other. There's no connectivity. There's 1,000 reasons why a busload of 8 to 14-year-olds would be totally dangerous on a construction site. And it's not until they've been through, I don't know, some kind of house building school initiation into building how to use a hammer that they become useful. So we all have this, I do a longer bit, we all have this divine spark inside of ourselves. It's the angel that lives in here or here. Such that when the angel's gone, you're dead. It's the spark of life. So whatever religion or book you want to come out of, the thing that keeps alive, it's an angel. And the angel in you, when it arrives, has a gift, some kind of usefulness, and it also has a purpose, a job to do. I'm fortunate. I think I've found mine, and Villa too here, but just got to get him out in the public a little more. And that notion what drives me through all the initiation work that we do, because every one of us has this divine spark inside of us and a gift and a job to do. And it takes a pretty rigorous initiation to crack the mold, crack the egg, and let this thing come out. All right, I'll go little sound bites. I'll put this one in here now. When a male, a man, is under 10 years old, he's in what I call mommy's world.
Yeah.
You got boobs and milk and you a nice warm bed and dinners are made and you go to school and you bobos, they kiss you better and you're taken care of. Your needs are taken care of. Remember that word, needs. Over 20 years old, you're in man's world. You get a job, you're responsible, you pay your way, or get a shopping cart. I don't care. But so when you're under 10, you have needs because you're needy. And when you're over 20, you're responsible to yourself and to your community. Anyone over 20 who's still needy, my phone doesn't work. Or somebody do this for me. It's not bad. It's just that it's frustrating. It hurts that you're running at 20% of your potential. But when you get this wake up and you get to 60, 80% of your potential, it wakes up the warrior within. So the first part of man's world, when you're 20 to 30, 35, is warrior's world. You have to fight for a job. You have to fight for a position in society, fight for a good woman, fight, fight, fight. Ethically, with integrity. And the most thing you're fighting is just the demons and dragons and laziness and stupidity in here. So we wake up the angel within through the initiations, going to warrior's world. When that happens, you got these guys that are closer to their higher potential. Without that, it's all over the streets these days. They wander around lost and being less than potential. And that's the gut ache, the heartbreaking thing when you see them totally competent men, but you know there's just something missing. They just, come on, guys, just wake it up, wake it up. When we do our weekends, it's the magic of 48 hours. On Friday afternoon, at Central Park, they arrive at the bus stop and we put them on school buses. And it's just 40, 50, 60 teenagers, bad attitude. I don't want to be here. You can't make me. Fuck you, fuck you. They got backwards baseball caps and baggy jeans and camping gear and way too much junk. And the mums are being all fretful. You'll be okay. And they just, I don't want to, fuck you. So much bad attitude because they're coming from the comforts of mommy's world and they're going to something strange that deep in their bones, it's different, it's hard, they're not going to like it. And then exactly 48 hours later, after a week in the forest with us, the bus comes back to the park. And when it gets there, the bus explodes. You think they won the Super Bowl. They're coming out of there, hugging, they're slapping each other. The men who are there, they're strong handshakes, look him in the eyes, slapping his shoulders, something happened in those 48 hours that woke up something in there. At the end of the weekend, we do all the stuff, and then on the way out of the campsite, we do a gauntlet. So we have all the men line up, and then all the young men come, like a baseball game, like the teams going past each other. And again, the difference when they came in, I don't want to be here, I don't like you, to eye-to-eye contact with all the men there. Thanks. Good to see you. See you next year. The connectivity and the spark that's being awoken. It's phenomenal. We don't put anything in there. We just wake up what's already there.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
And then he's more useful for whatever he's got to do. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the code that you mentioned, Andrea, of what's in a tree, it's in a human. Curious, what's special about that ritual setting, the initiation time that allows a young man to have that discovery, perhaps?
Go ahead.
Let me say something about what Brett just said, okay? Because it's important. Because it goes back to the cultural factor of this, and then we start with your question, Gwen, if you don't mind, because otherwise it's going to slip my mind. There's a cultural piece, that to this, because that's a great difficulty of being a young man these days, because they have all this thing that is all feminized, so they're an environment that doesn't address the way the body is, the way the mind is, the brain works and stuff. Because we're all feminized, we're all about talking, all about expressing our feelings and non-violent communication and this, which is profoundly unnatural, at least for the stage of development of the young man. Extremely unnatural.
The's no culture of man in today's society.
Yeah. What is the difference between men and women? What is the core difference between men and women? Okay. And I speak about this and I do seminars, so that's what I do. But it's like the body of the woman is the body of the two, right?
The what?
So, the body of the woman is the body of the two.
Two. Yeah.
Okay. It's a body that is extremely attuned to another human being, to the feeling of another being. So there is an incredible instrument, right, that they have to be attuned to somebody else. They have to raise kids, for obvious natural reasons. What is the body of the man? The body of the man is body of the one. The body of the one. We don't have a clue what intimacy is in the relational type of thing, right? Because women is embedded in them this sense of intimacy. We have to learn intimacy. We have to learn about love. We have to learn a lot of things. We have our learning to do. But when it comes to being a young man, what we have the intimacy of conflict. That's how man develops intimacy, by being in conflict with another man. That's why we love sports, or at least most men love sports, because it's choreographed, ritualized conflict. And then we understand it. For us, it's clear. Me and Brad, we love each other to pieces. We start working together. It's arguing from the very first minute I get off the plane to the moment and then we start working together. And then it's all love and kisses. And
something beautiful happens.
We're fun, but man, it's like, boom. And 25 years worth of it. We still speak every couple of months. I have to talk to him, But when we work together, it's war, But that's a very natural thing. And this poor young man, They have to deal in this where there's no room for conflicts, and there's no way where to learn how to have a ritualized conflict. So a conflict where that doesn't end up in them shooting at each other. So there is an intelligent conflict, and that's, a rite of passage. There's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of things, but this is a good thing. That's why they can slap each other at the end. That's how it become a team. See, you have to understand that, because I've seen some horrible things, like some rite of passage organized, from organization that shall not be, shall remain unnamed. But where they sit around and they just talk, which is all men, these young men going in their heads, and their heads is all what is in the head, the culture. The head is in the culture, in the bodies is instinct and nature, and the daimon, that's the angel, lives in the body, doesn't live in the mind, lives in your heart. So I've seen this horrible thing of this rite of passage where people sit for 2 days. 2 days of sitting, young men, sitting. It's torture. Is creating deformities. Anyway, I have my rant. I wanted to speak about this. What was your question? I don't know if you or what else.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, here, just what you said about the conflict. Have you noticed the way I've been dealing with you for the last year?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slapping you around.
It's been refreshing.
Overall, some benefit. I don't intentionally do it. You just draw it out of me.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm
one
surprised
thing
this guy's still standing.
I acknowledge is the aversion to conflict in my own life. I think a lot of men my age or younger too. There's this big aversion to it, the fear. What's going to come up? I haven't experienced too much of it. And that's why I like doing this work, being a part of a men's circle. Conflict comes up and just having that experience.
So here's another thing. The good news and bad news about these phenomenal relationships at this level with these men is weird and wonderful things happen that just, where did that come from? And well, here, let me just do a couple of things here. Come on, there. Beep. So that is Young Men's Weekend #1. And you can just see, and how do we do this?
And when was that?
1990, May, June 1990. And there's Andy Vine with a beard looking a lot like Andrea Villa. Oh, AV and AV, do. And then right above him, that's me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's 35 years ago. I was 7 at the time. Yeah, and we had no idea what we're doing. We just took a bunch of young men camping and threw in a bunch of quasi-mythological stuff. We had ravens and we had a dolphin. It was kind of cool. And bears and challenges and things. And there's a bunch of men that we had. There was 25 men and 50 teenagers. First one out of the gate. And then, so that's how they arrive. Actually, this is a picture at the end because they're all cheering and smiling and they're liking us. And then, come over. That one. And let's go to here. Pow. Oh, no, we'll do this one first. And along the way, we do all kinds of barbaric things, including don't want to call it a sweat lodge, but nothing to see here. Move along. But when you got 80 guys to go in a sweat lodge, you have to build a damn big thing. So we do all the stuff we do at the weekend and stuff that I'll never tell you. Such that on the way out, we have a bunch of warriors. Good ones. There's the scale of, it's Mars. Mars archetype, and at the low end you got the bully and the thug and the killer, and then the soldier who does it because he's told to, and then the protector, and then the cop, and then above that you got the guy who knows his position in society is to serve and protect. The warrior will never start a fight. The warrior will always end a fight.
Amen.
So we're going from the pack of teenagers arrived to basically this mythological notion of the warriors, and all of that. So let these guys go away for now. Boop. Back to my living room. So on the way to warriors, my wild Italian buddy called me one day, 2014, 15, something like that, 10, 12 years ago. Hey, I got an idea, I want to do a thing. Oh yeah, what? Well, every society through history has always had the warrior clan. And they all, they're the protective family. On the left coast of Canada here, we've got all the islands, and there's all the native nations and clans, whatever they're called. And they're forever going up and down the coast, raiding each other and stealing their food or the women and making slaves, and or protecting each other. So there's always the warriors in these ancient societies. And my friend here must have had a dream about, in every one of those societies, the warriors get together and they have a sacred warrior dance. Said, I want to do that. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I got 100 men and teenagers out in the wilderness on a rocky beach. So he had a dream of doing this thing. And he came up and took us to the core of the sacred warrior dance, which the familiar archetype these days is the New Zealand rugby team, the haka. And they do that very choreographed, and it's always the same. The school soccer teams do it. It's a New Zealand tradition, and there it's closer to the surface. But Mr. Villa brought that up to us, such that each team of teenagers would go off down to the beach with them, and at the end of it, we had not a dance off, but each team would come across the campsite toward the elders. This pack of 14-year-olds, they scared the shit out of me. So if Mr. Villa would like to explain the core of what the hell he was doing there on my weekend, and the beauty of this thing, I don't know, it's something that's got to be preserved and done again. So the secret other agenda for this call is to have our learned friend talk about the idea came from, what his process was to understand it, what he's looking for, where he's going, because it's a massive entity of man's world, warrior's world, and it's a massive piece of inspiration that he was blessed to tap into that theme of it. So, Mr. Villa.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah. It's
Man, I forgot we were supposed to talk about this. I totally forgot. Which is good. So it's very good. There is something I want to address before that, in a sense that the Aka, the fierce dance. I call it the fierce dance.
Fierce dance, yeah.
The warrior dance is just out of respect, because it is inspired by Haka, but I'm no Maori. I got nothing to do with Maoris. I didn't start, thanks God, and then start studying and then go to live in New Zealand.
Well, this thing came from the same, the roots that the Haka is the current manifestation of, but it's there through all of them. I saw the locals.
When I started studying this, is everywhere. Men dancing together. It's been.
I saw
together. It's been everywhere.
Over here, we have one of the local native nations is Squamish, and they had a bunch of warriors. They all had cedar, the black costumes, and they started stomping around. Whoa! It scared the crap out of me, but I actually saw it from another indigenous thread, another strain of the whole thing. So it's there through all societies.
Yeah,
And it
but
only exists. But go ahead, go ahead.
no, but that's what I wanted to address first, because the haka is the fierce dance is one thing. There's one thing of the 10,000
Mhm.
that happened. So the one of the blessings of working with Brad, it would give me a lot of opportunity to work, to create and to come up with ideas in the past. Is always been, and me starting doing this kind of work is the immense ritual intelligence that men still have,
Yeah.
in spite of all the years of modernity, irrationalization of everything.
Civilization killing us.
Civilization killing us, killing our souls and our gifts, killing our gifts, because that's what civilization is. It's a gift killing machine. And it's got good things. It's got antibiotics, but boy, we pay a high price for it. So this is kind of the umbrella that because what they do in Canada is a lot of fun, a lot of game, but it is a giant ritual. That's what it is. So it is a step out from what is the normality, what we consider normal. Time, space, and we shift to another dimension, right? That's which, and so we can encounter something that we cannot encounter in everyday's life, right? It's an encounter with the numinous. That's what initiation is. Initiation is the encounter with the numinous through the channel of gender. So my encounter is through the channel, the specificity. It's not a generalized one love thing. No, it's through the specificity of me being a man, or being a male. Okay? Women do their own encounter with a numinous through the channel of their gender. It's a different experience. So, and I love it because I'm so sick of. So we have reduced our psyche, modernity, because modernity has to sell us things, to keep the system. So what has reduced us to individuals, with our individual needs and laws and regulation and rights, with kind of like has shrunk us, shrunk us in our experience to be alive, right? So whenever we look inside, it's always about psychology. The restriction of psychology, which is very restricted. It's only between your eyes. Whatever happens to you between your eyes, it's a very restricted way to see a human being. And so, what I propose is a cosmology instead of psychology. What I'm interested in is a cosmology, something big that can have room for all of me, all of whatever is coming through me and from me, right? So, and what is the container for that? The container for that is ritual, right? And what is the container for what is the ritual for men? It's a ritual of conflict. It's a ritual of conflict. So a fierce dance. Fierce dance is a capacity to go from ferocity to fierceness. So from being out of control to being in control. To ride this drive and energy, that martial energy that each man has. Thanks God. Right? And how do we express it in a way that creates beauty? How do we express it in a way that creates not only beauty, but also praises the enemy? Because there is a way of having conflict by expressing conflict and your fierceness and strength by dancing in front of your opponent. and making that a war instead of a real war. Right? So we're, because that's the issue, a lot of young men have too, is how do I deal with it is the core issue, is one of the core issues of men. How do I do with basically, how do I deal with my erection? That's the first issue when you are 14, 13, when it starts coming up. I can turn this erection into something of service. There's a big conversation nobody has in modernity, but it's always been had because it's essential to the safety of a tribe. And and the second question is, how do I deal with the martiality, which is basically goes back to the original, how we started this conversation. How do we start with the martiality without killing the earth? Which is, we don't know how to do it. Obviously, look around, we're destroying nature. So with our drive. There's nothing wrong intrinsically in the drive, right? So the dance is that's the spirit of the dance. How do we address this issue of martiality and potentially destructive potential that each man carries, and we address it and we channel it to the expression of beauty, the creation of beauty, which is our way to honor the earth and to serve the earth. That's the purpose of man, to create beauty. That's it. Like, yeah, that's our job. It's not to make money. It's not our job is to create beauty, and this way we serve things. So that's the purpose, to create the purpose of the. And then there's another thing. It's like the young man is gonna do it. They're gonna do it much better than the old man. And they're gonna bury the old man. So that's what I do. And the process is very simple. Because it's also a tool to develop, the leadership. So they pick a leader. They come out with awards. Of the dance.
I watched all the men and the young men doing these things and the dance, and the language of the words was really quite specific. I am the roots. I am the roots of this land, and you're in my kingdom, and thou shalt not pass. Like it came from this phenomenal. Can you talk about where the words came from, or how you guided them to find the words that were appropriate for them that on this page?
Yeah, well, the thing, I tell you the truth, I don't remember. I think there are two ways that I've been doing this thing. One is I've been writing the words, which is the old way of doing things. I don't do that anymore.
No.
The second way is I give them words, but because of the constraints of time, I don't give them the words, but I say it has to be 4 lines and it has to contain 2 words, because otherwise as an exercise, the young men get lost, because if I say the word kitchen and the word hawk has to be in it, okay? Yeah, that's how we did it, I think. I picked 2 words, and then they build a poem around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Around it.
But all those poems were
they
visceral, they were strong. Whoa,
yeah, so helping them out to come up with not like, to be a man is to be like a hawk in the sky, all this bullshit thing. No, just like just very visceral, stuff. Otherwise, you can't dance them, and then they create the steps, and they have a certain amount of time to do it, and they dance against each other.
And you were coaching them, and no, that's weak. I don't get it. Where's your strength? You're actually extracting.
It's about
the movements from
because you can't fake a dance.
No, but you could tell if it was on spot or not.
Yeah, it's called authenticity.
It's a beautiful thing.
It was beautiful because then there were so much, because the men did it too. The production team did it too, and And the young man was so much better. They just crushed it. And because I had a man, they danced against each other. Everybody
Yeah,
dances against each
yeah,
other. So the old man had to dance against the young man. So
yeah.
obviously, and so much better.
That was it.
And then they praise each other. And then they have this beautiful song. They at that time we didn't have time to come to create, together, because there would be a long, a day,
Yeah,
right? So I wrote it, but
yeah.
it was a beautiful song because everybody cried at the end, because they praised, all the men dancing were all the guys that were at the beginning telling me, oh, you can't do this, oh, you can't do that, they were just Friday and Saturday were just the rule enforcers, and these weird guys in the woods and that kind of stuff, right? And then they danced, and then the young man praised them, and the old man praised them, and everybody was crying at the end. So
Did you save that somewhere?
All right, so Andrea went and found some of these writings that we were talking about, so Andrea could share this speech that he gave the men before the dance. And it's really inspiring. We thought we'd want to share it with you.
my name is Andrea Villa. I'm not a dance instructor. I'm not a choreographer. I'm not a native. What I am is a man in love with male fierceness. Men have been dancing together for eons of time. They have danced to light their fire, to face their enemy, to grieve, to go to battle, to avoid battle, to make peace. I'm doing this because in this time and age, even the stones are aching for some male fierceness. The world is full of male ferocity, and that is killing the mother. It is killing the spirit in the stones. Ferocity is fierceness without purpose and soul. I'm here because I can't stand the sight of men who are frozen inside and are in hell, because by renouncing their ferocity, I've thrown away their fierceness. You throw away your fierceness, you throw away your ability to grieve, and you become half human. I'm here because without our fierceness, there is no village and there is no life. I'm here because without man's fierceness, there is no future, period. I'm here because there is something about man standing their ground to protect life, being an example to young men, something free and liberating. I'm here because I love what you do. I'm here because I admire you. I'm not here to teach you some pretty steps. I'm here to help you polish your balls. The purpose of this polishing is to create some intense beauty that praises the life that we are. We're going to sing and dance the epic poem of our beings. We are going to sing and dance the epic poem of our lives. Once upon a time, long ago, not too long ago, we were nomads. We owned nothing. We had stories. We owned songs. We owned dances. And those were the tools that allowed us to be alive, to be human. In other modern terms, we are culture. The stories and dances are no more. They were trashed and forgotten because the cultures that allow us to live right are no match to convenience and fear. I'm asking for the impossible. I'm asking to remember the place, the time when we were one, when we knew how to live, when we knew how to dance, when we knew how to sing together. It would be good if we could start from the beginning, but we have to start from the end. And at the end, there is this longing, the longing for a place like it should be, where the goddess was at the table, when she was the table, when she was us. We used to own stories. We used to trade dance steps before goods. We used to own songs and treasure them like bank accounts. And now we roam the earth lost with money in our pockets, but intimately much poorer. Come forth, brothers, be heard like thunder. This is the dance for the exiles to come home. This is the dance to claim your throne. To live, to die. We are the breath of our ancestors. We feel their happiness in our bones. They have not lived in vain. They have not lived in vain. To live, to die. The dances we will execute will be self-choreographed. We're not going to copy some dance step from a distant culture because I'm not interested in somebody else's fierceness. I'm interested in yours because it is your fierceness that the world needs. This is a place where you're going to reach in the bones, dive in your bones to bring forth something raw and vital that we're going to polish to a shine. This is a bone rattle dance. And it is very possible and likely that we're going to pay the tribute of grief to get there. You're going to come up with your dance, and I have no idea what it's going to look like. This is dance for orphans, orphans of community and of wisdom. This is a dance for orphans to remember, here to remember the impossible, that we come from a big place. And this is a praise song that I wrote for the men or the women. Oh, it's for the men actually. But so at the end of the dance, instead of being like this macho kind of dancing, and I do what I call the praise dance. It's a praise recitation, choral recitation, and these are the words. And I'm gonna speak these words, and then there's at the end also there is the words that the young man says to the old man. So this is for some regular dancing, just for some teams of men's teams dancing. So this is the chorus. When I saw you dancing, it was like seeing the stars for the first time. It was like seeing a tree for the first time. I once thought you were my enemy. Now I cannot believe that I've been in the darkness for so long. When I saw you dancing, I felt I was remembered. I remember who I once was. I felt that I was seen. When I saw you dancing, I knew that it was really me that was dancing. The other team. When I saw you dancing, I saw this spark becoming a burning coal full of heat that has become a light now, so that I can see again, so that I can see that I have no enemies no more. When you freely gave your heart to the dance, I saw me as a gift to you. There's another song to the enemy. We sing praise to you that make us strong. Your dance was like a bird that scooped me up in the sky. And from there, I could see that you were like me, my brother. No, it was you that showed me what it's like to stand like a tree and move like a lion. Because you danced so well, even the trees stopped gossiping and started watching. Because they never saw such beauty in humans. Because you danced so well, my heart is yours. This is one of the young man's Saka. This is mine. It's not, they didn't write it, so I can read it. And so we who owns the sun, we who owns the stars, and are here to teach you what it looks like to be alive. Our stars are calling, and we will follow them. Just try to stop us. And this is the old man at the end, the older man praising younger man. When I saw you dancing across me, I could not believe my eyes. I felt like a tree bowing and almost breaking on the weight of such beauty. When I saw you dancing, it was me that it was dancing, a younger me, a leaner me, but me nonetheless. The same stars, the same heart beating in front of me, the same heart that was beating into my father's chest, the same heart that is beating in my chest. And I saw life when I saw you. I could not believe I could love life so much. So this is the answer of the young man to the older man. Fathers, we see you as we stand in front of you. Fathers, as we stand in front of you, we have no words to tell you the story of what we see. We have no words. We don't know the words to describe what we see. We never saw men like you. We never saw men who can dance. We never saw men that can be so beautiful together. We never saw men with such grace and strength. We don't know that men can work together so well. Yes, you always surround us, but we do not see you. We do not know how to see you. Today, we see you. We see you.
I've probably been to 100 of these things, and I've run or had parts of. But that's one of the top 3 things I've ever seen at any of our initiations. I mean, they're set in the wilderness. Once I even had arranged a full moon, and there's on a sand spit in the middle of this lake, 100 miles from anywhere. And it could have been anywhere in the last million years, just a warrior party of the senior warriors with the juniors and out there doing the magic. It was mythological. It's just stunning. And this, the fierce dance was just this, one of the highlights of my career. Just, so thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Come and do it again, or just come up and drink tea with me at the weekend. Speaking about the battle, right? Typically at our weekends every year, part of the ritual thing, part of the page 18 of the ritual is Sunday afternoon. Some old guy usually taunts the young men. You coming into man's world? You think you're ready for man's world? Are you ready for some real man? And then I throw a couple of footballs out in the field, and it's game on. So it's some distortion of a soccer game. It's them against us, and it's no rules, but they've had the safety stuff. They're not allowed to kill each other, and we play until the 3rd injury, which is usually about 10-15 minutes.
The 3rd.
But then, yeah, you don't want to keel over the first whiny little bitch hits the floor. It hurt me. Bang. It's back up again. Then 1 year Dorian was PTM. Oh, it was 2017, my son. And we're sitting around, and he says, you know what? And he's looking at this pile of lumber we brought along in case we need. Dorian says, I think we need a castle. And there's a father and son there, and they were kind of being a little different. Hey, you guys build us a castle. So all the Saturday, they built a castle in the middle of the campsite. They built a castle. And the young men were off in the forest doing something or other. And when they came back down the trail into the campsite, they didn't notice, but lying all over the ground, there was all these super soakers and squirt guns. And they come around the corner, and there's this castle, and there's all their sleeping bags and their clothes draped all over the castle. And I was the enforcer that year, and I'm up on the top of this castle. Get out of here, you bunch of babies, a bunch of little girly boys. Get the fuck out of here. You're not welcome in man's world. Get the fuck out of here. We don't like you. Go away. Those kind of things. You're just not welcome here. And then we had a well-stocked. Well, here you'll see. Let me see if I can make this go click.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay, it's really quick. We'll probably have to watch it twice. So they're coming down the trail. Get out of here, and then all hell breaks loose. This is the fierce border battle. There's the castle. So there. So there's a fierce water battle.
Yeah, it's more conflict that's acted out for fun and this intimacy there.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole "are you welcome?" We welcome them in man's world, and we're a better place to welcome in man's world than on a battlefield.
Amen.
Ritualized conflict.
Yeah.
This year we had a water battle. Usually it's a soccer game with 3 balls and no rules and dust everywhere. We got videos of it.
Yeah, I'm curious, why is that so sensitive these days, the idea of conflict?
Feminized. Feminized. Or sanitized, or if you were to say feminized, you start a fight with them, but men are getting softened. Yes, sir.
Well, because we have to serve the machine.
Yeah.
And conflict is very unproductive for the machine. It's very non-understandable. So, machine don't understand conflict or eros or love. It's very messy because we're dealing with irrationality. The system is based on rationality, which doesn't mean intelligence, doesn't mean logic. It means rational capacity to measure.
Yeah. There's no culture for what we're doing in today's society. Elders, initiations, the angel within, there's no respect for that. It's how much we can, but we're not going to talk about societal ailments these days. Mr. Eggleston, you got 1 or 2 other little points to get in here? Because we're probably
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love to dive
here.
into that more sometime, but I'm also thinking about the return. There's going deep, expressing these parts of the eros and conflict and intimacy, and then coming back into a community most likely that wants to squash that.
They don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So what are some parting words that you perhaps give some of these young men? And just where are we in that story right now?
We get phone calls from parents in the week following, and I had these 2 Russian brothers years ago, little crooks, thrown out of school and cops chasing him in juvenile jail or whatever it was. And these little assholes. And they made trouble on the Saturday night, and we spent the Sunday morning, the enforcer initiating things and initiating it. The enforcer mediates a discussion with the young men to find the truth about those four guys were in trouble. And we spent about an hour doing like a village court. And the men would ask questions to encourage the young men to ask questions. We could deal with it in 5 minutes, but we expedited this huge inquiry about integrity and stuff. I'm just replaying the whole thing in my head. When we got back to the bus stop in town, the elder brother came up to me and said, "Hey man, I think I lost my sleeping bag." And I'm looking at the back of the 5-ton truck, and I can see his red sleeping bag right at the top there behind him. And that's a stupid thing to do. And the younger brother, 12-year-old, "You idiot, you give me 25, you're supposed to look after your sleeping bag, mom's gonna kill you." So the little one got the big brother doing push-ups in front of me. Well, that's for being stupid. I guess if you want it back, you're gonna have to pay me 50 push-ups. So he's doing more push-ups here. And then off you go. And they're walking across the parking lot. And they're like, 50, come back here, you two. And like, they know that I'm gonna kill them. They're gonna die. Come here. And so, you know that trouble you got into Saturday night? Yeah. And then Sunday we had that discussion with the whole camp. Yeah. That's probably one of the best parts of the weekend. Thank you for bringing that to us. What?
Amen.
We got in trouble and he's thanking us?
Amen.
What?
Amen. Amen.
3 days later, I get a call from mom. And she's a young single mom, Russian blonde girl. And she's in tears. Oh, fuck, what have we done now? Mr. Leslie. Mr. Leslie, yeah, it's so my boys, Frank and Roman. I remember the names. Year 2000. No, 1999. What'd you do to my sons? Oh, fuck, are they in jail or they died or what? Was it some kind of religious conversion? Like they're out in the backyard building tents with tarps and they're camping outside. They do all kinds of strange things. And who's this enforcer? They love that guy. So they come back from this, and other parents. We had a young guy who was on suicide watch, and he came in and last year, and afterwards the probation officer called me and said, "What you do to him? He's talking to people. We taken him off suicide watch. He's what you do to him?" We have another man who's I'll say he's prominent in he's a university professor, but he's in international psychology things, and he says there's nothing on the planet like he deals with social. There's nothing on the planet that puts so much bang for your buck into 48 hours that addresses the challenges of young men. It's unique, these things that we do. And yet society has no culture to understand what we're doing. We send them back and they're just glowing warriors. And here's a good story with a horrible part in the middle of it. Yeah, one man called and he said, "I'm a family counselor and we cannot recommend events." So we'll get Dave to call the family. And then I heard nothing about them. And then the next year, I was talking to this man, the family counselor. "Hey, whatever happened to the student guys?" "Oh, didn't you hear the story?" No, they don't. So that first year, there's these two Métis, half and half, native and English and Scottish. So this guy had gone from England, got to Winnipeg, met on the streets drunk, hang out with this girl, and they got two sons. And the mom wanders back in the bushes, and then so the man takes the two sons to Vancouver, meets another girl, and they have two more kids. And the new mom doesn't like the two other ones because they're natives. It's hell on those guys because they don't fit into either world, or they often have those challenges. And they get booted down the line. They're living with some grandmother, and the grandmother's another drunk and abusive and slaps them around. And so anyway, we get these two young men, 14 and 16-year-olds. And they were there. They're just in the mass of young men. I didn't know who they were. And on the Sunday night, they go home, and the grandmother, "Well, you little assholes, how are we gonna?" Mom slaps him because she's always slapped. And the big one, "Oh, don't you ever fucking hit me again." Not the right way to do it, but it worked. The next morning, this is where I lose it. The 16-year-old got in the bus and went back to Winnipeg looking for his family. Took him a month. He was on the streets in Winnipeg, and I'm looking for, all he had was the name. So, "Oh yeah, I think sorry." She went up to that town about 100 miles north. He got a bus and he found his family. I can quit now. That's one. So society doesn't know how to contend with this. I wish it was different. But if we keep building it out and building it out and building it out, and keep doing it, yeah. Anyway, should we start closing it down?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for those stories.
When I close a call like this, the question goes something as follows. Gentlemen, when you were invited to this call, you were given some idea of what to expect. What you're coming into, think about this, think about that. But now the call's done. What caught your attention? What surprised you? What stood out in the reality of what we've just done in the last hour and a half? So and the two parts, what caught your attention or surprised you, and what are you going to do based on this? So we'll give Villa time to think, and Mr. Eggleston, what surprised you, what caught your attention, and what are you going to do?
What surprised me was when Mr. Villa here just brought in the Eros and the love as this through line of this journey. And I'm going to sit with that a lot more. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see how that's showing up in my life, but also with the strength of the warrior archetype too. How am I creating a safe space for that to come through in my life right now, and in my listening? So I'm going to take some time and do that.
Thank you.
It's the important thing is to be in an unsafe space. That's the crucial thing. It has to be unsafe. Because
did I tell you to be scared shitless?
is an unsafe space. You know what? Every time I get on a call with Brad, I know it is an unsafe space. And I go like, there's something in me that has to be alert. Okay, but this is his gift to me. So I'm always nervous. No, not all the call, but like this right now, I know because it's gonna come out. Something's gonna move me. It's gonna challenge me. It's gonna, I'm not gonna be the same when I come out of this call. Usually, sometimes I call him and say, hey, how's your prostate operation? We talk about these things too. It's not always, but when we discuss about things, I know I'm gonna be challenged, and I'm gonna be challenged to give my best. And come out with things, from corner angles that I never seen it, and that's what we do for each other, So just look, you can't put together men together, and that's why, I'm in Boulder, Colorado. It always has to be a safe space. Please,
Right.
You put three men together, it's dangerous. That's you have to not deny the danger. You have to understand that it's dangerous. And start from there and not make it a war, though. But you can't deny life. You can't deny the instinct. You can't deny your body. You can't deny, you can't deny the fact that you're unique, that I'm not him, and I will never be him, and I will never be Brad Leslie. And that's why we fight and we love each other so much. This is I'm going to be me. And that's what he wants me to be, me. So this ain't gonna be safe though. This is gonna be like, to see if I come out of this alive.
Safe is who you used to be.
Right.
Safe is who you used to be.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Villa, what caught your attention? What surprised you in this call? What are you going to do about it?
I loved your stories, and because there's something that the story you just said, that you just told, because it's something that I'm now able to listen to hear, and something that I recognize in myself, this capacity, and to affect change the way you do, and there's something for me to bring home. An awareness of the changes that create that I don't recognize. So that's I think it's plenty.
What did you just say? You don't recognize the changes you create?
Right.
And you're on my beach doing the fierce dance with 100 of my men, and I keep inviting you back? Is the fucking light going on yet? You got something massive to give. Fuck, man. Is the light going on yet? Anyway, so for me, fuck, I love this shit. I love this shit. Yeah, I'll do this bit. Like this gift that the three of us carry, and anybody watching this, that understand the vital importance of this. Separately, in my other world, I was nominated for 2 significant awards in the last few months for community work and being an all-around hero for 35 years. And I came in second on both of them. And the Oscar goes to the other guy. And it wasn't until I didn't get it, I realized how much I was looking forward to getting it. You know, because if I got one or both of them, it would have launched me on a whole new trajectory of, and I got to talk about it because the recognition that comes with these awards. And it didn't happen. So it was a bit crushing. Oh well, the path's taking me this way, so what? But it's not until I do something like this, I see the extent of what we're capable of and what we can be doing. And what was I yelling you last night about Eggleston? It's you have a divine mortal responsibility to do this stuff. And it just drills home, I got to find more places to do it somehow or other. And yet the landmines and the barbed wire have to go through to make this stuff happen. It's fucking unreal. Would have broken a weaker man. However, undaunted, I will prevail. Thank you much, gentlemen. Freaking awesome, freaking awesome, freaking awesome.